Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio and Didi Woodson. We're all hoping the arrival of Michael Bullock, but we do not know if we're going to get him or not. However, we will go into SmackDown Live tonight, which was the penultimate edition of SmackDown Live, leading into SummerSlam, which is next week. That's right, next Sunday night, now officially confirmed to be at the Amway Arena in Orlando, Florida. And the other big announcement, Amway Arena will be the official home of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live for the remainder of the year. That's right. From now until the end of 2020, the Amway Arena will become the new home of WWE. A major step up. And on top of that, they've also announced virtual fans will be a part of these shows until they open it up for the public to be in the arenas. So basically, we're gonna have to wait and see what WWE is gonna do as it pertains to the fans aspect with the virtual fans. How is that gonna play out? Because we've seen it with the NHL, we've seen it with it's not going to be cardboard cutouts like MLB, and they do virtual fans in the NBA at Orlando, Florida at Walt Disney. So how are they going to play this? How's this going to look? We're just going to have to wait and find out. But big news coming out of WWE today. But we do have SmackDown Live, and we started it off with the women's Battle Royale. When it was all said and done, the winner and the woman that will receive a title shot at the SmackDown Women's title is Asuka. That's right, Asuka of Monday Night Raw wins the Battle Royale. She gets the shot at the title, and you're thinking, wait a minute. Doesn't she already have a shot at the Raw Women's title? What is this? Well, Asuka now has an opportunity to become a double champion. She now has a chance to not only regain the Raw Women's title, but now, Anthony, you might actually get the roles reversed, because now a Raw woman could take away the SmackDown title. So it's definitely there now. The odds of it is very plausible to see Asuka walk out with both belts. Now, as far as my rating goes, I gotta give this 3.5 stars. The total time was 8 minutes and 2 seconds. And, okay, not every time a Battle Royale never delivers in the clutch and everything else. And there was some bad moments in the match, I'm not gonna deny it, but for Asuka to win this is a great story. I mean, this is a great moment for her. She is continuing that incredible ride that she's been having on 2020. This year, Asuka has had a resurgence more than ever before, and she has truly become the Empress of Tomorrow. With no Becky Lynch, with no Charlotte Flair right now, both on the mend. Charlotte because she had her surgery, Becky because she's expecting. But Asuka has become one of the true megastars in WWE. And then, of course, you got Sasha and Bayley. Those three are literally running the women's division as we know it. And for them to be literally in the spotlight at SummerSlam now, front and center, this is awesome. But now the question becomes, what are they gonna do? Is this gonna be, in a sense, is Asuka gonna have to fight twice in one night? Fight the Raw Women's title first, then the SmackDown Women's title later in the night? Or is WWE gonna do the unprecedented move and lump the three together, have one match, winner take all? Or could they do it like they did a la WrestleMania 2000 with the Intercontinental and the European titles, which was Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and Chris Benoit, where you have one fall for the women for the Raw Women's title, the second fall for the SmackDown Women's title, and then we decided that way. There's a lot of scenarios that can break out. We're going to hopefully get an answer next week. But until then, Anthony Florio, it is all yours, my friend. Asuka just won it for Raw. And more importantly, a game-changing moment as we head to SummerSlam.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, you're absolutely right. I mean, oh, this Raw guy, you can't see it, but this Raw guy's got a little bit of a Cheshire Cat grin on his face right about now, because the roles could be reversed here. I mean, you remember how angry and upset I was when Sasha Banks stole the Raw Women's Championship and it became property of SmackDown. You have no idea how angry that made me. Well, MF, like Kane once infamously said many moons ago, I believe you're going to be feeling my pain, my friend. I mean, because I truly believe the SmackDown Women's Championship could become property of Monday Night Raw. Ho, 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 eye for an eye. Oh, yeah. Get ready, big boy. Get ready. That's our retribution, if you will. But, anywho, I could probably give. I think 3.5 is a little too steep, MF. I think 2.5 to 3 is the correct rating here. I mean, oh yes, it was a fine battle royal, absolutely, and there was something brief that needs to be addressed. Well, Bullock is here. Well, we'll let Bullock address that elephant in the room in a little bit, because Bullock was none too happy about the lack of representation for his brand NXT. But you can certainly understand that. But who cares, man? Monday Night Raw won this battle royal. Our top woman, Asuka, the most entertaining and talented woman on the Raw roster right now. Not just because of the Japanese gibberish that I've been loving so much, but who knows? At the end of the night, we could be referring to Asuka as Asuka Two Belts. Think about it. Asuka could become the SmackDown Women's Champion and the Raw Women's Champion in one night. And me personally, I would love to take the SmackDown Women's Championship and bring it to Monday Night Raw. Whereas MF, you remember, thanks to Sasha Banks stealing the Raw Women's Championship, and it became property of SmackDown, which really angered me. But MF, you're going to be going. I'm afraid you're going to be going on that little pissy pants tirade when Asuka takes the SmackDown Women's Championship to Monday Night Raw. Sweet revenge, baby. I can't wait. So, but we'll get into that. We'll address that all next week. And as far as the whole Amway thing goes, the Emory Arena in Orlando, that goes into effect next Friday. I believe this Monday's Raw will be the last Monday Night Raw that will emanate from the Performance Center in Orlando. And a huge announcement came out about that show. We'll address that at the end. But for right now, 2.5 to 3, I believe, is the correct rating for this Battle Royal. So really nothing more for us to say on this. Phenom, Michael Bullock, come on in. Asuka has a chance to become Asuka Two Belts and perhaps bring the SmackDown Women's Championship to Monday Night Raw. And oh, daddy, would I love nothing more than that. Woo-hoo.
Well, first off, I mean, did I miss anything, Fletch? Before that?
No, we just went right. This was the first thing we covered, so you came in right on time.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to be sure. So, yeah. So, Yeah, I mean, I agree with Floria. I mean, and yeah, we're talking about the battle royal, right?
Yes, we're talking about the Battle Royal.
All right. Well, first off, before I talk about it, um, I heard about the names, and I mean, yes, there was a good number from Raw and SmackDown, but the one thing that really got me angered was the lack of talent. Well, in the for NXT, because the only two that were in it were Tegan Knox and Shotzi Blackheart. I mean, Florio and I talked about it when I hit him up on it when I heard about it, and he agreed with me that there should have been at least two, maybe three more to basically even it out. I don't know how you feel about it, Fletch. What do you think there should have been more?
I mean, look, to try to fill a 2 hour show, but then again, it all depends on how people they really wanted NXT. You could really open the locker room if you wanted to, but I mean, I get why they do again. They were fill for the storyline now. So I mean, honestly didn't think NXT was going to have that much of an impact on this match. So I
Oh,
understand.
I knew they weren't gonna win it, but I just think if you had at least a couple more, I think even it out, I would have been fine with it.
I mean, you could have made an argument for maybe Mercedes Martinez, um, maybe Dakota Kai could, but then again, you also got to protect them as well. Maybe that's why they threw just them too, because they didn't want any of the women to take embarrassing performances. So maybe the one thing I'm thinking is maybe they protected a lot of the NXT women. That's why you didn't see that much representation from them.
Well, that's understandable, but I still would have loved to see, like I said, maybe two or three more representations. But it doesn't have to be the big names that you're referring to. I mean, it could be others that we could have seen. But anyway, I mean, um, yeah, I mean, Asuka winning it. I mean, yeah, that's a shocker, and now she has a chance to become Asuka two belts if that happens. And all I can say is I'm going to be rooting for Asuka that night. I mean, because I want to see her take both of them from Sasha and Bailey. Not just, and first off, guys, to Fletch and Florio, it has nothing to do with the brand. I'm not pulling for Raw or SmackDown. I just want to see Sasha and Bailey get what's coming to them. So
And
I
who
just want to
knows,
clear the
Bullock?
air on.
And Bullock, sorry to interrupt, but there's one other thing that I forgot to mention there.
Yeah.
The Golden Role Models, quote unquote, they announced that at that Payback event that's going to take place the week after SummerSlam, they're going to be defending the women's tag team title. So in the span of 2 consecutive Sundays, the Golden Role Models empire could come crumbling down. And I know how much Bullock wants to see that more than anything.
It's very possible. I mean, that could literally turn into a downward spiral for them. I mean, the only question is who would be the ones to try to take the belts from them. I think that's going to be the bigger question is who would challenge the Golden Role Models for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles because they could very possibly lose all the gold in a 2 week span. It could happen.
But it would make me one happy camper if that happens. But so Fletch and Florida, what did you guys give this battle royale?
I gave it 3.5. Anthony said 2.5 to 3.
I'll give it about an even three. I'll meet you guys right in the middle. I mean, so yeah, that's pretty much all I can say on it. So Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with Bullock. I think we should have had at least a few more from NXT. I think what would have been, maybe a more proper battle royal might have been like 4 from each show, but you know, it's just my opinion. Of course, I had, none of us have any real say in what WWE does. That's all Vince McMahon, Mr. Corncob, but yeah, um, I'm going to go ahead and agree with Fletch on this one. I think this was a 3.5 star match. I mean, this was a really good match. I mean, with as many as you had in there, there was a lot of action, and yeah, there was guys pulling some down from the outside, but I mean, I was not, I was a little surprised how well NXT did do um, in this battle royal, but I'm not entirely surprised the two that it came down to in the end being Asuka and Shayna Baszler, and I would have been happy to see either one of them go up against Bailey. You know, you can imagine what Shayna could do to Bailey. I mean, that would have been awesome. But we got Asuka, who like we've said, could be Asuka 2 belts. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So not much more I'm going to add. It's your Sledge.
Yeah, and with that said, we move right along, and it was we had a backstage thing, and it was Mandy Rose, and well, we kind of knew it was going to happen. Mandy wants Sonya at SummerSlam, hair versus hair. I think it's pretty obvious we're going to get the match. There's pretty much no doubts on this one. So guys,
Yeah,
the
it's official. It's
yeah,
official.
the rivalry is come full circle. Hair versus hair at SummerSlam at the Amway Arena in Orlando. Holy cow! I mean, to think how this storyline has started from the very beginning, from it being a weird love thing between Mandy and Otis to the disaster date on Valentine's to the explosion that was from the hacker prior to WrestleMania to what happened at Mania to what's happening all the way up. This has been one of the most riveting storylines we have ever had when it comes to two women in WWE today. They've booked this so good that hopefully, and this might not even end. This might not even end after this hair versus hair match. Whoever loses their hair, this might not be the end of it. But I gotta admit, they've done such a good job with this storyline. Um, do you guys wish to comment on this quickly, or Anthony has just confirmed? I guess Sonya has accepted via her social media, so it is on at SummerSlam. Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose, hair versus hair.
Yes.
Anthony,
Yep. Here's
it's
the
yours.
thing. Here's the thing, MF. It wasn't social media. Later in the show, Sonya cut a rebuttal promo backstage near the end of the show. So that's how it became official. So it wasn't social media or anything like that. Sonya accepted and cut a rebuttal promo later in the show, which was incredible, by the way. So yes. Now, if you had suggested late last year that Mandy Rose would be able to cut that sort of intense promo and get over the raw emotion of her feud with Sonya Deville, you might have been laughed out of the room. But now, after the excellence of their rivalry to this point, it is yet another instance of those involved delivering performances that enhance the material rather than the other way around. Mandy was great here, and if she could find it within herself to cut that promo on a consistent basis and back it up between the ropes, she would easily become that breakout star WWE had hoped she would have been from the moment they signed her fresh out of Tough Enough 2015. The Rose DeVille rivalry is the best story in WWE right now, and promos like this are why. And for only the second time Yeah, keep that in mind. Only the second time, only one other time before that we will see a hair versus hair match in the history of SummerSlam. The only other time, you got to go back to 1998 in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. X-Pac, Sean Waltman against Jeff Jarrett. X-Pac won that match. And you remember after the match, they cut Jarrett's hair, and it was payback for what Jeff Jarrett and Southern Justice did to Howard Finkel prior to SummerSlam on Sunday Night Heat. So there you go. A little professor moment there. So, but this time, it's the first time ever we're going to have two women involved in a hair versus hair match in SummerSlam, and this will be the first time we've seen a hair versus hair match for the women, maybe even of any sort, since all the way back at WrestleMania 20 in that very same venue, Madison Square Garden. Victoria, Molly Holly, for the women's championship. Victoria won, and we all remember what happened with Molly after that.
Oh,
holy haircut, Batman! Like
yeah.
like JR said. So it was great. So who knows what's going to happen? But we'll address that elephant in the room next week. But if I were to give an early prediction, I'm actually going to go with Mandy Rose to win. I think she's due.
I agree.
I think she's due.
I agree too. And can you imagine how Sonya Deville's gonna be? I mean, you thought she was crazy already.
Oh my!
Imagine how she's gonna be after getting a haircut.
Yeah.
Shave bald, baby.
She's gonna be shaved bald. Now the question is, and I'm gonna throw this to both of you guys because I know you guys love this. Are we gonna hear some bald-headed blues?
All of WrestleMania 23.
Somebody better channel that.
WrestleMania, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I'll tell you one person.
WrestleMania 23.
Person's not gonna like it, and that's Sonya Deville, because she'll flip her lid. You thought she was crazy already, but when she gets her hair cut, she'll be even more crazier to the point of you might need to get her a straitjacket because that's the only way that'll contain her.
She's gonna be goofy as a pet coon. Let's not kid ourselves. So, but
lithium. That's what she'll need. Lithium.
Another JR moment, WrestleMania 22 after Mickie James beat Trish Stratus. I remember that well. MF, one of MF's finest moments. But anywho, I think this is where Mandy gets her payback here, and bald-headed blues. Oh, I would love it. We all remember WrestleMania 23 when Vince McMahon was getting his head shaved at the hands of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bobby Lashley, and President Trump. I mean, bald-headed blues in the background, and that became a Target Hall of Fame moment for myself and Derek Ferrera. I mean, we used to crack on that song back in the day, and they play that, I'm not only gonna mark out, but I'm gonna lose my mind in laughter. So that's all I can say on that. So yeah, great promo from Mandy, incredible. I mean, I gotta say that was Mandy's best promo, hands down. So really nothing more to say. So Boic, for only the second time in SummerSlam history, I mean, you and I have already relived it. 98 SummerSlam, X-Pac and Jeff Jarrett, hair versus hair, only the second time. How about it?
Yeah, only the second time we get a hair versus hair at SummerSlam. And yeah, I mean, this storyline with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville's been on the spot. And yeah, Sonya Deville drove Mandy to the point of when she cut the hair off of her, and yeah, so she's like, okay, you want to do that? Then why don't we propose a hair versus hair match? And yeah, no surprise, Sonya accepts. And yeah, I agree. I think Mandy Rose is gonna get her payback and finally beat Sonya. And yeah, Sonya Deville, sorry to say this, but you're gonna be singing the bald-headed blues because that's what you're gonna become. And to the guys in the back, if she starts acting crazy, get her a damn straitjacket and some lithium because she's going to need it to be contained. So, Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I can agree. I think Mandy's gonna finally get her chance to put Sonya in her place, and uh, show that yeah, she's a pretty face, but she has the talent to back it up, and that she knows what she's doing out there. Sonya, yeah, she's got the MMA background and all that stuff, and and her being in the LBG community. I mean that's going to be another little hit to her. So it's sad that it's come down to this, but yeah, I think it's time Mandy finally gets her chance to come out on top throughout this whole rivalry, and let Sonya you know see what it's like to be humiliated the way that she has been doing to Mandy the last few weeks. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, and then with that, we're going to move right on along. It was Sheamus versus Chad Gable. Sheamus wins the match in 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Do you guys want to talk about this? We could move on if you want.
Move on. No comment.
Move on. Okay. Very well. Very well. Move on, Dee Dee Woodson says too. Okay, no problem. Then we got actually a backstage moment. Anthony, I want you to talk about this one because we need to get into this. AJ Styles is berating Jim Ross's little brother, Joseph Park. Yes. I think we remember who Joseph Park is. Can you believe this?
Oh, man. When I saw him, I was like, is that? And then I'm like, it is. It is him. Now, here's the thing. I know who he is. MF knows who he is. I'm pretty sure Dee Dee Woodson even knows who he is. The only person who I don't believe knows him is Bullet.
No.
So here's the thing. Chris Park, real name. But I can't believe they called him Joseph Park. I thought that would have been exclusive to TNA Impact, but okay. But nonetheless, they called him Joseph Park, and well, let me tell you, folks. Behind the dorky outfit, behind the goofy glasses and that suit, is a monster. A monster named Abyss, who was one of the greatest stars in the history of TNA Impact Wrestling. A TNA original, mind you, as well as AJ Styles. And when I saw those two together, it brought back memories of the Lockdown event in 2005 when they battled in a number one contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. AJ Styles won that and then went on to win the title from Jarrett. Yes, but that's who that is, folks. That was the monster Abyss. Yes, formerly of TNA Impact Wrestling, a man who, was a major mainstay just as much as AJ Styles was. They had some memorable battles. But hey, Jeff Hardy knows him as well. Jeff Hardy. Do I even need to remind you about Bound for Glory 2005 MF when Jeff Hardy dove 40, 50 feet from the top of the set and did a swanton through the man on a table, for goodness sakes. One of the great moments in Impact Wrestling history. Relive it on Impact Plus. By the way, I have that, and it's hella awesome. But anyways, getting into this, WWE has a long history of completely and unnecessarily overthinking stories, and this was yet another example of it. Was it too hard to work? Was it too hard to book? Wrestler A has belt. Wrestler B wants belt. They will wrestle. Apparently, because WWE went through this convoluted segment that introduced statistics, featured a cameo from Joseph Park / Abyss, and did not add anything to what could have been a much less convoluted segment. Hardy versus Styles as a match will likely rule, and more importantly, appeals to wrestling fans who may have watched a decade ago when they battled in TNA, but tuned out recently. Both men are recognizable faces and have track records of stealing shows. It is just a shame they don't have a stronger or more lucid story supporting them. And I thought it was going to be SummerSlam. No, that's going to happen next week. Next week, go home edition of Smackdown, live from the Amway Center in Orlando. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, you think about the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in SummerSlam history. I mean, no title has changed hands in SummerSlam. We all know this. More than the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, especially in the early years. Nowadays, not so much. The most recent was 2 years ago, Seth Rollins, when he dethroned Dolph Ziggler in a match that stole the damn show. And that was the first fight of the night, go figure. But anyways, great to see Joseph Park. Great to see Abyss. I knew he had signed for WWE. I knew he was working in a producer backstage role. I never thought they would actually use him on camera and as the Joseph Park character. Wasn't really a fan of that character. His entrance theme, though, was kind of cool. I kind of liked his entrance theme, but the character, not so much. I liked him a lot better when he was the Monster Abyss, when he was raising all kinds of hell and Impact. And FDD and I know all about that now, don't we? So there's that. So MF, what is this? An open forum here? What are we doing here? So I just give it to Bullock here. What do I do?
Yeah, no, this is open forum. I just wanted it a quick thought. But if anybody else wants to follow on it, then you can. If you don't, then we'll just move right along because I got the next. Right after that, it is confirmed. As many of you guys know, confirmed by. Oh, Didi, you want a quick thought?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with Florio. I was not a big fan of the Joseph Park character, and I am surprised that he did go by that name for this. But of course, him and AJ came from Impact, and so everybody knows that these two know each other very well, and I think that's kind of why they teamed them up together on this. But yeah, I mean, it was a very well done segment, and I'm hoping we get a different side of Mr. Parks here instead of keeping this, because this character, I mean, he's scared of his own shadow. It's a very sad character, very, very sad character. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
I wonder, is this going to open the door for Abyss to appear in WWE?
I hope so.
I hope so, too. And let me tell you, if he does, wait, Michael Bullock.
Look out!
Bullock,
look out!
He was a Hellraiser in TNA.
He was yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, guys. I've seen some bits and pieces of the Monster Abyss, but if Fletch is talking about what he's talking about maybe the Monster Abyss coming to WWE, can you imagine the hell he's gonna raise there?
Dude, Strowman, The Fiend, Abyss, all on SmackDown?
Yikes.
Well, welcome to the insane asylum. Welcome to the loony bin. Literally, we're gonna have the whole of the monsters in there, man. I mean, that's gonna be. Oh man, I'm already. I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. All right. Well, next up, guys, we had a match. It was Grand Metalik versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and Grand Metalik wins the match in 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Uh-oh. Guys, can we say those two magical words? Is this really?
3.
Can it be?
3 words. Championship committee moment? I think so.
All right, Mike Bullock, I think it belongs to you, my friend. So, Metalik takes down Nakamura in 4 minutes and 17 seconds.
I'll give this about 1.5 to 2 for the effort, but I'm going to say this. Yes, it is a championship committee moment, I think we're gonna get it. That the Lucha House Party against Nakamura and Cesaro for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and I think that could go down at SummerSlam. So it's not official yet, but I got a feeling it could be made official on the final SmackDown before SummerSlam. So there's really nothing more to say. Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give it probably about 1 star, but yeah, definitely championship committee moment, and I think these guys deserve a title shot. So yeah, I'm not going to add much more. I mean, it was just it was just a match. It was okay. So it's yours, Fletch.
Championship committee moment confirmed, no doubt about it. I don't think there's no more argument on there. Solid match, solid battle. 1.5 to 2. That's my rating. Anthony, quick.
And let's not forget, I'm on that committee. No, just kidding. But just having a little moment
Sure,
there.
you are. Silent majority, but you're not always silent there, Florio.
You damn right. But anywho, just wanted to have a little fun there. 2 stars. WWE has a lot of work to do in terms of convincing its fans of Lucha House Party's credibility, particularly after it has spent the last 2 years presenting them as a glorified enhancement talent. Grand Metalik's IC title bout with AJ Styles some time ago was evidence that even in the midst of a great match, it's hard to truly invest oneself because you never really believe that guy has a chance in hell of beating Styles. Ditto to Kalisto or Dorado. Kalisto's return would have meant more if he was a bigger deal before injury took him from the ring. With all that said, the trio finds itself in the midst of its most consistent streak of TV time in many months, so one can hope they convince those in power to continue using them. They are, after all, far too talented to sit on the sidelines. And if they do get the tag team title match, MF, and God forbid they win the titles, do we get the Freebird rule? There's 3 of them. We've seen it with the New Day. Could they do it with them if they win?
Oh, wow, that's actually very interesting. I never actually thought of it. Because for the longest time it was Lince Dorado, Gran Metalik, and they were together because, like you said, Kalisto was on IR on the injury report because I believe it was a knee injury, so that's why he was sidelined for all that time. Shoulder injury. Freebird rule could definitely come in play. Definitely. You know what? I'll probably say yes. I think we would have a Freebird rule if Lucha House Party wins the belt. So yeah, I could definitely see it. So, all right. With that said, we had a throwaway segment. It was Baron Corbin and I think it was Chad Gable. No, it was Matt Riddle. So it was with Caleb Braxton. That's nothing to really talk about. But this we need to get into. The interview with Alexa Bliss. And it got really interesting, to say the very least. I mean, there's going to be more to this at the end of the night, but this was very interesting, and we'll get into it a little bit later. We had Big E versus John Morrison, and Big E wins the match in 11 minutes and 45 seconds. So, Dee Dee Woodson, just give me a quick thought on this match.
It was all right. I mean, we had a lot of stuff that went on during the match with Retribution interrupting again and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's just it was bad. And you had Miz out there doing the commentary and stuff. So yeah, I mean it was just too much chaos. And Big E, congratulations on the win. You are definitely a great singles performer. You brought up a lot of good points there at the beginning of the match, but this match just total chaos, total I mean, you just kind of lost it with everything that was going on, with Retribution doing all the damage they did and everything. So, yeah, I'm only going to probably be able to give it 1 star just because of all the total chaos that just came out during this whole match. So, it's yours, Fletch.
This was all over the place. I'm with Dee Woodson on this one. Retribution showed up. They once again tried to stick their nose where it didn't belong on SmackDown business again. It was, like I said, it was all over the place. I'm glad that they got a win. I'm glad that Big E got at least we had enough to get a resolution and a win, so we get an official rating. But there was so much of an overbook and so much chaos around the ring and everything else. I just don't have the heart to even make a rating for this. I'm gonna give it an NA. I can't. I'm not. I'm not gonna rate this. I can't. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with MF on this one. While it was nice to see Retribution booked to look smart and cunning rather than mindless anarchists by outsmarting the roster, there was so much going on here, and most of it was at the detriment of Big E. We know Big E is in the midst of this big singles push, but he was overshadowed by the Invaders, then by Sheamus, and finally by Braun Strowman. He was an afterthought in a match that should have propelled him forward, but instead left him a bit player in a larger segment. This just didn't work, even if Big E earned the win. And then shortly after that, Sonya Deville accepted Mandy Rose's challenge, and that sets up the final chapter of a rivalry that has been Friday Night SmackDown's most consistent. So a lot went on indeed. So I'm with MF. I'm not going to put a rating on this. So Bullock, what do you say?
I say I'm with Fletch and Florio. I'm not giving it a rating either. I mean, just too much that went on, too much overbooking that went on during this. I mean, yes, Big E got the win, but it just felt like nothing. I mean, he's supposed to be getting a push, but now it looks like he's. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just move on, Fletch.
And then we go into our main event segment, which was Alexa Bliss. She cutted the promo, very passionate. Braun came out, and it got intense. I mean, it really felt like, Alexa was really thinking that, wait a minute, you say that I mean nothing to you, or this or that. What about the time we were in Mixed Match Challenge? What about all this stuff? You were like one of my best friends and everything else. And Braun is thinking that Alexa is almost working for the Fiend, like that you're just a mind game for the Fiend so that he could help me lose the belt. So she didn't like that. She paintbrushed him a couple of times, slapping the taste out of him. He got angry, hoists her up off the ground like he was about to launch her. And then the lights went out. And that's where SmackDown ends with the Fiend basically that ominous laugh. And I'm like, whoa. Bliss is going to be a major factor, guys. And I think this is how the Fiend is going to get the belt back. Because of the fact that, I don't know, I don't want to call it ignorance, I don't want to call it stupidity. But the thing is that maybe Braun is right. He's thinking that Alexa is a pawn in the game of the Fiend, and he's thinking past that. But that might come back to bite him at the end. Because was there feelings between Alexa and Braun? You never know. Maybe, maybe not. This was really an interesting segment, And it's gotten me a little more intrigued towards the Universal title match at SummerSlam. I mean, this was a pretty good segment to close the show. Anthony, it's yours.
NMF. Let's not forget about the sit down interview that Alexa Bliss did earlier in the show as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman, they're so close that she would contemplate a romantic relationship with him. While there have been hints and reminders of their friendship over the years, there was never any indication of anything more than that. Conveniently enough until now. Then Alexa appeared completely compelled by whatever connection she formed with The Fiend during her time in his presence. That, more than anything else in that segment, the interview segment, is what bears watching leading into SummerSlam. And finally, the cliffhanger, the emotional hurt incurred by Bliss after Strowman's words a week earlier, further hints at Bliss's potential interference in the Universal Championship match at SummerSlam. Might she help The Fiend? Very possible. That we are asking that question means that this latest wrinkle is working and has elevated this program exponentially. And this was the character stuff Alexa Bliss has always been great at, and this was no exception. Now, as far as this closeout segment goes, first off, Braun Strowman, bald-headed blues. Speaking of, but that's it wasn't because of a match. It was because of The Fiend, obviously. But Strowman, his slow transformation into a monster in demeanor rather than name has been fantastically executed. Fans already know, based on previously established storylines, that The Fiend has harsh effects on anyone he encounters. Finn Balor and Seth Rollins underwent character transformations. They both turned heel. And John Cena has not been seen since that infamous Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. Strowman resisted initially, but after the horror show at Extreme Rules has become a darker and more dangerous version of himself. One immune to the friendship of Bliss, and even willing to risk her well-being if it means getting the attention of The Fiend. And therein lies the interesting developments with the story. Coupled with Bliss's seemingly expressing intrigue in The Fiend earlier in the show, The Fiend coming to her aid may very well be a facade concocted by Bliss and Strowman to lure Bray Wyatt's alter ego into a trap, maybe. Bliss turning and aligning with The Fiend is the most intriguing outcome, though. Her turn to the dark side complete. And it would be in line with The Fiend's effects and give the decorated competitor a wholly new persona to embrace going forward. Maybe we'll finally have Sister Abigail. We have been wondering if they were ever going to have a Sister Abigail. Could Alexa Bliss be said Sister Abigail after all these years? 7 years.
We also thought at the horror show that she was it. If you remember that little vignette where that veil was there, and we were like, and once they revealed that it was Alexa, remember, we all were saying, is this her? Or is this her as Sister Abigail? We were already starting to think, we already were thinking at that time that Alexa Bliss is Sister Abigail.
And we've been wondering this for the last 6 or 7 years. Since the Wyatt family came to fruition right around 2013, and it was probably around late 2013 or even into 2014 that they started mentioning about Sister Abigail. Bray started mentioning about Sister Abigail. Who knows? Maybe Alexa Bliss could be that Sister Abigail we've been wondering and wanting to see for the longest time. So we'll have to wait and see. But overall, these were the co-segments of the night. I mean, Alexa's sit-down interview was great. This segment was even better. So all around great. And Michael Bullock, I mean, they took our we were I don't know how we were feeling about this match going in, but after what we saw tonight with the sit-down interview with Alexa and this segment to close the show, I think our excitement level for the Universal Championship match with Strowman and The Fiend just went sky high. What do you say?
Oh, yeah, it definitely reached sky high and then some. And now with this thing with Alexa Bliss now, who knows what could happen come SummerSlam? I mean, Could she align herself with the Fiend? I mean, who knows? Going into this Universal title match, I really didn't have that much intrigue, but now with this whole thing with Alexa, it definitely leaves me intrigued. So, yeah, so this was definitely a really good segment to close out the show. So, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a good segment to close the show with, and yeah, it's definitely a co-segment of the night with the interview because they're kind of hand in hand. You had you got to see that Alexa was there when she walked. Nikki Cross walked up and started apologizing for everything that happened because of the stuff leading into the stuff with the Fiend, and then the interview, and then now this. Um, and Strowman brought up a point that, um, I don't think any of the maybe some of the announcers have thought about. I know a lot of people I've watched on YouTube that's doing theories for the Funhouse have brought it up. But every time, he uses the hurt glove, everybody's hurt. And, Strowman brought up the fact, every time he's done that mandible claw, that somebody has become a little bit more evil. Look at Seth Rollins. Look at, Finn Balor's not even the same as he was after all this. So yeah, I mean, it's there's that proven track record, and we brought up where even some of the guys that we haven't even seen anymore, like like John Cena, that's just kind of up and disappeared from this whole thing. So yeah, the Sister Abigail reference from the pay-per-view, and now the last couple of weeks where she's been in the ring with the Fiend, and even using her hand to keep him from re-sticking the mandible claw down her mouth. She kind of resisting him a little bit. It just, she doesn't seem as scared out there these last couple of times as she did that first time when he did that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely some sort of change going on. She's definitely in the heart of this little feud. So we'll just have to see what happens, whether or not she's playing with the Fiend or whether or not she's helping him out. Well, that we'll have to wait and see. This could all be a trap with Braun and Alexa, and then it could be a trap with Alexa and the Fiend. So we'll see what happens. So not much more I'm going to add. It's your Fletch.
So much storyline, so much development, and next week is go home for SummerSlam, and SmackDown Live is gonna be the first show outside of the PC at the Amway Arena in Orlando, Florida. Man, this show is gonna be nuts. I got a good feeling about next week. And alright, final thoughts. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
Yeah. Interesting show to say the very least. I mean, it was a lot like Raw Monday night. I mean, not the best show, but for the most part, it was a good show. It was a solid show. Not overly spectacular or anything. But we did get a lot. It was a newsworthy show, I will say that, with all the news that came out and whatnot. If I were to give it a rating, I would probably give this about 6.5, just like with Raw. I mean, we had a couple of standout matches, but the good news is that it was a definite change in quality for this show tonight. I mean, the women's battle royal, I mean, that was very good and very surprising with Asuka there. I mean, amazing. And a lot of people marking out over the Joseph Parks sighting, and mainly those TNA diehards and the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I mean, great stuff that came out of this. The Alexa sit down interview and the closing segment there. Those were the segments of the night. And those two great backstage promos from Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville to set up their hair versus hair match for SummerSlam. That was well done. Championship committee moment, perhaps, for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Lucha House Party and Cesaro and Nakamura. That could be interesting. And AJ and Hardy next week for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And the first show of this new live era will be next Friday night at the Amway Center in Orlando. You got AJ and Hardy. If they do what they did in TNA next week, oh boy, this could be something special. So we'll have to wait and see how everything works out, but I'm definitely looking forward to next Friday night. And go figure, me or Raw guy is actually looking forward to a SmackDown show next week. Oh yeah, wait till you see what Raw's got coming down the pipeline Monday night. HBK, Shawn Michaels, he's going to be in the house. He's going to confront Randy Orton after what he did to Ric Flair. And who knows, maybe Rey Mysterio could be even on the show. There was a possibility of that. I don't know, but we'll see. But Shawn Michaels, Monday night. Oh, yeah. That's all I can say on that. That's a segment worth watching right there. So, nothing more to say. If I had to give it a rating, I would say about 6.5, just like Raw Monday night. So, nothing more to say. Bullock. Solid show, but not overly spectacular, even though it was newsworthy.
Yeah, it was solid, but not overly spectacular. I mean, it was. I mean, you had a couple of good matches. The segments I thought really, mostly dominated the show. I mean, especially with all the news that we got, especially now as we come down the home stretch of SummerSlam. Now it's coming up next, especially with it being next Sunday. So I definitely cannot wait to see what goes down first with Raw, and of course with the new live SmackDown coming from the Amway Center. So yeah, so Monday night is going to be the final Raw at the Performance Center before they make way to the Amway Center. So there's really nothing more to say. GD Woodson, your final thought.
Yeah, this was definitely a newsworthy show. The segments pretty much kind of stole the show. We got a lot of information, got a lot of, like I said, the storyline progression, a lot of building up for the pay-per-view. Out of next week's shows, I'd have to say I'm looking more forward to SmackDown over Raw, because I'm not, as much as I love HBK, I'm not looking forward to seeing him end up in the same conclusion that we've had with Edge, Christian, Big Show, anybody else who's gone up against Randy Orton. So, yeah, it's going to be nice to see him there, but I'm not looking forward to seeing, another victim falling to the Viper out of the legends that have retired and everything. So, but yeah, this show, it had a lot of good high points, but yeah, some of the matches weren't that awesome, but we did have, like I said, a lot of storyline progressions, even in some of the stuff that wasn't that great. You still leading to the pay-per-view, still building that. So yeah, I could even, if we're doing ratings, I could even agree with Florio's rating on the show. So not much more I'm going to add. Guys, I left you a link for your Ball-Headed Blues, so I'll see you guys Monday. Good night.
Oh, god damn it!
It's the legit song. I looked into it. It's the legit song. It's actually
Oh my God.
Oh my god, Dee. Oh my.
You're welcome.
Oh god.
You're welcome.
Yes. Oh, I can't believe she just did
God
that.
bless you, Didi.
You
God bless
had to do it, Dee.
Of
Oh
course I did. I didn't.
man.
I didn't really jump in much with you guys talking about that. So I went on a hunt and I found it and I gave you guys the link. So have fun with it, guys. So
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't
I
even
can't
know what
believe
else is there to say.
there's nothing to say. I got nothing else. I
okay.
mean, yeah.
Good night.
Thank good night. Oh my word! I can't believe she gave us the actual link to Bald Headed Blues. Oh man! All right. Um, there is no Mikey's mindset. Normally, I would call this the end of the show, but you know what? I got Michael Bullock here. I got Anthony Florio here. We didn't do a Bruins beat last night because Bullock was away, on special commitments, which was beyond his control, and no doubt about it. And I'm not gonna. And trust me, he had every right to be away last night. So, would you be down to do a Bruins beat right here, right now, fellas?
I'm down with it.
Let's go.
All right. So for all you wrestling fans out there, we do have some hockey fans, preferably either Carolina Hurricanes or Boston Bruins, let's do a little quick rundown. Well, last night was Game 2 of the Eastern Conference first round matchup between the Boston Bruins and the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes got the victory 3-2 in regulation. It started off with the Boston Bruins getting the first goal of the game at 15:41 as David Krejci gets the goal, which was assisted by Brad Marchand and Torrey Krug. Oh, by the way, it was a power play goal. So we had that. Then we had which gave the Bruins a 1-0 lead. Then in the second period, we had Tino Teravainen getting a goal, assisted by Sinestikov and Sebastian Aho at 15:13. That gave the game a 1-1 tie, and then Alexei Sinestikov gets the goal at 16:41, giving the Carolina Hurricanes the 2-1 lead. Just before the end of the period, Brad Marchand gets the goal. Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci with the assist with 5 seconds left in the second period. So that made it a 2-2 game. And then an old nemesis of Boston, and I do believe he was a former Bruin at one time. Was he, Michael Bullock? Dougie Hamilton?
Yep, that's right. Doug Hamilton was once Boston Bruins.
Well, unfortunately, he stuck the dagger into the hearts of Bruins fans and twist the knife. 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the third period, he scores the goal, and lo and behold, that goal held up as the Boston Bruins falls to the Carolina Hurricanes by the final score of 3-2, and more importantly, that ties the series at 1 game apiece. Shots on goal was 7-6 in period 1, advantage Carolina. Boston outshot Carolina 14-10 in the second period, even though Carolina had 2 goals in that period. In the third period, was 15-9 advantage Bruins in the third, but Dougie Hamilton got the game-winning goal. 35-26 was the shots on goal advantage Bruins. In the overall face-off advantage Bruins, 36-27. The Bruins was 2 for 3 on the power play. They were the more aggressive team with 43 hits to Carolina's 35 shots, and the 3 stars of the game. Number 3 star for your Boston Bruins was Brad Marchand. Number 2 star, Dougie Hamilton. And number 1 was Andrei Sesestikov with the 1 goal, 1 assist, the 2 penalty minutes, 15:09 plus minutes of two. James Reimer had 33 saves. Tuukka Rask had 23 saves. But more importantly, the final score, the victory goes to the Carolina Hurricanes. So, Michael Bullock, why don't you jump in on this? Tough break for your Boston Bruins, man. They definitely played a great game. They had all the opportunities, but Carolina comes out with a big win.
Yeah, and I thought we lost Florio. I thought he was gonna join in on it, but
I guess not. All right.
I guess
Well,
yeah.
if he
So
comes back, maybe he'll. If he comes back, then we could have him talk. But go ahead, Bullock. It's yours.
all right, yeah. So yeah. I mean, I thought the Bruins played a good game. I mean, it was basically in that third period where they gave up that goal to their former teammate Dougie Hamilton, and yeah, yeah. I mean, Marchand I thought played a really good game. Um, and what really hurt them was not having David Pastrnak in the lineup. He was deemed unfit to practice. So yeah, Carolina just got themselves some. This was definitely a confidence builder for them going into Game 3 tomorrow afternoon, which is a 12 o'clock start. And yeah, so the Bruins, they really need to. I mean, they play good, but as we always like to say, guys, they can definitely play better, and hopefully David Pastrnak will be in the lineup. And I think Tuukka Rask, to me, uh, I don't know about you, but I think his confidence seems a little rattled, including some comments that he made after the game when he said it doesn't feel like playoff hockey to me. That's not what you want to expect from a guy who's been the Vesna Trophy conversation. Tuukka Rask needs to get his head out of his rear end and start playing like the Tuukka Rask that we've come to know. And yeah, so I mean, there's definitely some other improvements that the Bruins can definitely make going into this game. But yeah, I mean, it was a good game from them. It was just that goal they gave up at the end. It really hurt them. And like you said, they had some other opportunities, but they just couldn't cash in. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Florio, why don't you give us your thoughts on this game?
Gladly. I mean, MF and I called it, and you know, we did our preview last night. It's a shame that Bullock couldn't be with us, but we did our Stanley Cup preview last night, and I surprised a lot of people when I picked the Carolina Hurricanes to win this series, and it was basically because of what I had saw from Boston in the round robin. I didn't like what I saw from Boston in the round robin tournament, but they bounced back for a nice win in Game 1 in a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic, with that 4-3 double overtime win, and then Carolina bouncing back here. And yeah, I mean, that was a big win for Carolina. And the reason why I picked Carolina to win the series was because of what I saw from them against the Rangers. I mean, they absolutely dominated our Rangers, and Carolina definitely has some motives here because, last year, Eastern Conference Finals, Boston swept them 4 in a row. Carolina has not forgotten, and thanks to that win, they made sure that wasn't going to happen again this year. So Game 3 will be just about 12 hours from now, gentlemen. It's going to be a high noon start tomorrow, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it, and we'll have to wait and see. I mean, this is definitely going to whoever wins, it's definitely going to be a momentum. It's going to give a team momentum there, but Hamilton sticks it to his former team. I mean, Svechnikov has been absolutely amazing for Carolina, and I still think Carolina's going to win this series, and and whoever wins tomorrow could go a long way towards who ultimately wins the series. But I still think, I mean, yes, Boston is the more talented team. Yes, absolutely. But at the end, I just think Carolina, because of what happened there. So I agree with the stars of the game. There's no question about that. There's no doubt about it. I agree with that 100%. And excuse me. So I mean, overall, you know, it was a nice bounce back for Carolina, and Hamilton, renowned former first round pick, you know, put Carolina ahead to win, and he had a spectacular cycle going. Boston looked absolutely frozen on it, and that's really all there is to say on that. So big win for Carolina. Now we move on to the big one tomorrow there, and you know, it's going to be very interesting. So MF, I mean, that's going to be our first game tomorrow. I mean, looking forward to it, and whoever wins tomorrow's game could definitely be well significant as to who's going to ultimately win the series.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out tomorrow. All right, guys, so we're done for the night. As always, tomorrow will be another edition of the Bruins Beat with myself and Michael Bullock. We're probably going to set this for about 10 o'clock, a little after 10, if that's all right, Bullock.
Well, actually, I might be out tomorrow night, but
Do you want to do it Sunday then? Because there isn't.
Why don't we do it Sunday?
All right, then we'll do it sometime on Sunday. Time to be determined. We'll figure it out. But we will go into Game 3. We'll talk about it, and that will be it. So, of course, Monday night is SummerSlam week. We will start it with Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. Then there's a Wednesday Night Mayhem show, which will be about, this will be on just NXT, only NXT. Friday will be the preview of, we'll have the Smackdown from Amalie Center. Of course, then we got, you know, the NXT TakeOver 30 preview, SummerSlam preview. Saturday is a very special show. Not only will we be covering AEW Dynamite, but we'll also be reviewing NXT TakeOver 30. Sunday is the day. SummerSlam from Orlando, Florida, exclusively on the WWE Network. We will recap that as the show goes off the air. So we got a very busy week ahead of us, guys, on the Strictly Sports family of networks, as always. So for Anthony Florio, for Michael Bullock, for Didi Woodson, I am Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much, as always. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms from around the world. We will see you on Sunday for the Bruins Beat, and then Monday night we will start SummerSlam week right here on the Wrestling Forum. So for all of us here, so long, everybody.